Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and go beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee. Co-host Raina is here today. Snack of the day is Milk-Bone Minis. And so we're ready to get started on a special book review of a book that I read recently. It was a buddy read for me. And this is The Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles. Now, I read this early to mid-January. Again, it was a buddy read. That was with Daniela of Uncommon Reader. She is also doing her review, and we will post our reviews at the same time. So I'll link her review in the description. So first, this is a book that is fiction. It's historical fiction, takes place in the mid-1950s. It is literary fiction. It is actually very highly character-driven. The characters are quirky. They're fun. They're unpredictable. It's also an adventure story, as depicted on the cover. It is about a road trip that goes awry. Have you ever gone on a road trip with friends who all have their own idea of what to do and what to see along the way and which direction they want to go in? Well, that's pretty much the Lincoln Highway. Everybody kind of has their own agenda. So this is Amor Towles' third novel. He also wrote A Gentleman in Moscow and Rules of Civility. He also has a book of short stories, which is called Table for Two. This book was published in 2021. It weighs in at 570 pages, but those pages did hold my interest, so let's talk about them. Now, this book has several main characters whose perspective we get to read at some point or points in the novel. So it is told from different viewpoints. Towles does a fantastic job of summarizing each time where we are in the story chronologically before getting into the narrative of each character. So despite the multiple viewpoints, I would say it's still easy to read and to follow what's going on. Each section also is labeled with a number, and that starts at 10 and then counts down. So this book takes place over a period of 10 days. And so that's what each section is. And within each day, we get the different narratives, the different perspectives of the multiple characters. So let's talk about these characters a little bit. Now, the first one we meet is what I would say is actually the main character. His name is Emmett Watson. And when we meet him, he is being driven home from Kansas to Nebraska, where he lives. In Kansas, he was in a juvenile detention center. His dad has passed away, and he's being released to, partly reason is to care for his younger brother. His mother has left the family several years previously. So now, even though he was in the detention center, Emmett is not a bad kid, but he did have, I'll just say, a debt to pay to society for an accident that occurred when he got into a fist fight with another boy. When Emmett comes into the house, his neighbor's there with a banker, and their farm is being foreclosed upon. So Emmett knows he has to go somewhere with his little brother, Billy, but he's prepared. He has money. He has a car. He's a responsible young man, even though he's only about 18 years old. So now let's talk about Billy. His brother, Billy, is a bit younger. I think he's about maybe 10 years old. He's been waiting for his brother, Emmett, to come home. He's been cared for by neighbors while Emmett was away and once their father did pass. He's a smart little guy. very observant, although not really maybe very worldly. But he's ready to go on a road trip. He's found out that his and Emmett's mom has been sending postcards that the dad was actually kind of keeping from them. There are 9 of them, and they are from cities all along the Lincoln Highway. The Lincoln Highway is the first highway in the U.S. to go, excuse me, from coast to coast. It goes from New York City all the way to San Francisco. Sorry, I've had to have a little change up here. My microphone ran out of batteries. So I think I was saying that the Lincoln Highway is the first coast to coast highway in the U.S. It goes from New York to San Francisco, as I said. And what happens in the book now is that Billy and Emmett decide to go ahead and pick it up and take it west along the route that their mom took to try to find her in San Francisco. That is the last place that they got a postcard from. So Billy is really super excited about taking the trip. He considers himself to be somewhat of a traveling man, if you will. He has a book in his backpack that he carries, and he cherishes the book. He's read it, 20 something times. And it's called Abacus Abernathy's Compendium of Heroes, Adventures, and Other Intrepid Travelers, which I just love that. I love Billy. He's just my type of kid. I think he was my favorite character. So now soon, Billy and Emmett discover that they are really not alone at their house after all. After the banker leaves, neighbors leave, and all of that stuff, 2 young men from the juvenile correction facility who were friends of Emmett's while he was there have stowed away in the trunk of the warden's car as he brought Emmett back. And they snuck out, as Emmett was being dropped off at home. One is named Duchess, and his name is actually Daniel Hewitt. The name Duchess comes from the fact that he is from Dutchess County, New York. And for some reason, Duchess is the perfect name for him. Daniel wouldn't do. Dutch wouldn't do. Duchess is perfect. Duchess's father was a con man, basically, and he traveled with him when he was a boy until his father abandoned him in an orphanage. So he's impulsive, he's tragic, and he knows how to set people up, is what he knows. He has his own idea about where Emmett should be heading. And Duchess has an interest in going in the opposite direction on the Lincoln Highway. Not only with the car, but he also manages to escape with Emmett's money when he steals the keys and just kind of takes off on his own with the other friend from juvenile. Now that friend is named Wooly. His name is actually Wallace Wilcott Martin. And Wooly is from a well-connected family, but he's just kind of never been able to get connected himself in any way. He's not someone to follow rules. He does not try to fit in, nor does he fit in really kind of in a lot of the places that he's been. He doesn't really think things through before he does them. And he is really easy to manipulate, which makes him a good friend for Dutch because Dutch, with his con man background, really can benefit from someone that he can manipulate. So now what happens? Oh, okay. So we are at the point. Okay. So he doesn't think things are okay. And he's told Duchess of a stash of money that his grandfather left at a summer home in a safe in New York. And that is why Duchess wants to go there so bad. So they're looking to go find money that has been left behind by Woolie's grandfather. So now that Billy and Emmett have no car and no money, they end up jumping trains to get themselves to New York, where they hope to intercept Woolie and Duchess. So that's kind of, again, where the picture on the front comes from. You've got a train and a car kind of running parallel. Looks like almost like they're racing with each other. So they want to intercept him, get their car back, get their money back, and then kind of get themselves back on track to head to California. So there are a few other characters from their hometown in Nebraska that play a part, as well as some characters that they meet along the way. But I think you can tell from what I've described, and I really don't want to describe a whole lot more because I'll give away, just kind of too many spoilers. There are a few spoilers, as I warned you, in what I've already said. So, but you can tell that so far we have interesting characters. We have a fast-paced story that is a little bit tragic, a little bit funny, and just kind of a lot of fun altogether. Even though the characters are unique, we're always privy to the why they're doing what they do. And it makes them relatable in some unexpected ways sometimes. And there were none that I didn't feel at least some empathy for at some point along the way. So, how did I feel about this book? Well, for me, there is much about this book to love. The almost 600 pages goes by very quickly. And I have thought about it and really tried to decide, is this book worth 5 stars? Or do I not want to quite give it 5 stars? And you know what? I'm going to give the 5 stars. It is a quality read. I would recommend it to just about anybody. It is very well written. It is interesting. It is a unique story. It has engaging characters. It's a little bit nostalgic with, the 50s. I love a book about a road trip, and that's what it is. And now I've not read anything else by Amor Towles, but I do plan to because I found this one to be, so entertaining. So if you like my content and you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Hit that thumbs up button and leave me a comment. Be sure to watch Daniela's review at Uncommon Reader. And Daniela, I thank you for doing this buddy read with me. This was a fantastic choice and a fantastic book for me. So I will put a link to Daniela's review, as I say, in my description. And I want to say thanks again for watching and have a great day.